Yo, it's Farah. You're listening to Chill Rose Radio at 101.7 FM.
Support local, baby.
Yo, my name is DJ Darko, aka the LeVar Burton of music, and I'm super excited for today's interview slash conversation with none other than Tris. How you doing today, Tris?
I'm good. How are you?
I've been good. I'm good. And of course, for everyone, we're just gonna start right at the beginning. So the first question I have for you is: was music always like a major part in your life growing up?
Yeah, 100%. It was kind of one of those things that just came naturally. I kind of just started singing.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, there's a lot of stories in my family about how it would just like be singing at like the completely wrong time, like wherever, whenever kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always kind of been a part of my life. I never really had to think about it too much.
See, and that's dope because for people who don't know, and I don't know if I'm sure you're aware that your covers are still on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
why, why, why'd you say yeah like that? You said
Well,
filled with
because
regret.
because there's a huge part of me that's like I should make them private, like I should delete them.
Mm-mm.
And there's another part of me that's like, like that's part of it's
Like the
part of my
journey.
growth.
Yeah,
Grow
yeah,
up, exactly. Like, I should I'm not obviously I'm not ashamed of it. It's just it's
yeah.
not where I'm at right now. I'm like shit.
No,
But
for
yeah,
sure, for sure. No, but the reason I bring them up, yeah, it's not to shame you. The reason I bring them up
yeah,
is
no,
because
I know.
yeah. So you started off doing covers, but like a question I wanted to get, and like since you said that, like music has been like a major part of your life growing up. You've just been pretty much just singing, exactly like I said, like singing sometimes at the wrong time. But like, so yeah, so when you started doing the covers, when did you feel like it was time for you, I guess, to tell your own story and like start making your songs a bit more personal, not just singing someone else's songs?
Well, I was always writing, but
Mm,
I just never I guess I never felt comfortable enough to share it with people. Um, I started like writing stories and like poetry and stuff when I was a kid, and I kind of just progressed into songwriting. But yeah, it took me a while to be like comfortable sharing it with other people. So I didn't start um like releasing anything that I had written myself or performing anything I'd written myself until like 2017 maybe. But yeah, it just took me a while to get to that place where I was like comfortable enough. And even then, like it's still a process of like getting comfortable.
for sure. And do you think that came from you personally, or was there people around you that, like, I guess, like, did you have a support system that helped you get to that place, even though you might still be struggling with it a bit, but, or was it more of like a personal journey?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
I definitely have a great support system. Like people that really believe in me, which is really nice. And also just seeing everyone else in the city and just in general doing their thing has really helped me. Kind of like I don't know, just I guess realize that it's possible and that
Right.
it's attainable. Um, so just yeah, like as soon as I started kind of realizing how many people were doing it, especially in the city. Like I was just super inspired by that, and I was like, yeah, I can do it too. And then also, yeah, it was just a personal growth as well, just kind of like being more comfortable with my experience and like being comfortable sharing it.
No, for sure. Yeah, that's dope. And then, so one more thing I'll ask is like, so you're saying that you were always singing growing up. So like, what kind of music was being played around the house, and who also was like your musical influences? Because I have a few that I think you would fit in if there was like a list of people that you're making like a playlist or something. But
Yeah.
like to you personally, like who would you say are your musical influences?
As far as like what I heard around the house, a lot of anything English, I had to seek out myself. But
Yeah.
a lot of like my mom was really religious, especially. So I would hear a lot of like Ethiopian Orthodox like church music, like just hymns and things like that. A lot of like traditional Ethiopian music, like celebratory type stuff.
Mhm.
Um, Lots of like love ballads and a lot of like Ethiopian jazz and funk and things like that. Um, that's what I heard around the house, and then I was kind of like seeking out that R&B. So I was listening to like whatever I could, like Beyonce and Rihanna and Mariah Carey, Whitney, and literally whatever I could find. Neo, just whatever was happening in the 2000s as well. I was like listening to at that time. Um, and as far as musical influences, uh, there's a lot.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I think I'm most heavily influenced by R&B, especially like
Yeah.
90s and 2000s, and neo soul especially, I would say. So Lauryn Hill and like Erykah Badu and D'Angelo and Maxwell and Raphael Sadiq and all those people were huge in um, my musical taste and also just like how I like to make music. Um, yeah, just anything soulful, I would just be gravitated towards. Um, and 90s rap was really huge for me. As soon as I kind of discovered jazz rap, like Tribe and like Gangstar and
Right.
things like that, that was huge for me too.
Well, no, exactly, and exactly to your point. Like you said, Lauryn Hill and Erykah Badu. Like I had you, like I literally wrote down here. I said Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu, and I also had Flowetry because the Flowetry cover that you did. So like Flowetry's dope.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I remember the first time that I heard Flowetry, like it was dope for me to go back and find different artists. My brothers weren't listening to like Flowetry, but like when I found Flowetry on my own, I was like, yo, how come no one told me about this? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like, yeah. So yeah, no, I feel you. I definitely like, yeah, the three people I had written down were Flowetry, Erykah Badu, and Lauryn Hill, and I feel like if someone were to make a playlist and like had those three artists in there, you would fit in perfectly, especially with the music you're making. So,
Easy. I appreciate that. It's a huge compliment.
all right, so I asked those questions. So the last thing I'll ask about this is like, and maybe you're still sort of struggling with this idea yourself, because I mean, being an artist, I feel like it's a constant battle of like, like should I put this out? Should I not put this out? Like the ever looming doubt in the back of your mind type thing. Like, that's just like once you decide to be an artist, these things are just a given, right? So like, when do you think uh you like reached a point where you wanted to take this seriously, or like have you reached that point yet where you like fully believe in your talent and like your craft and like this is like the path? Have you reached that point yet, or is there still like the ever looming doubt?
Um, I mean, I wouldn't say the doubt ever really goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think sometimes like the belief that it's I don't know, like your conviction can kind of overshadow it in a sense. So like I kind of progressively, especially I would say in the past couple years, um, just from things like support, like my support system and just like watching other people like achieve, not even achieve, just go for their dreams. That's been huge for me. Like just seeing that it's possible has been really helpful um, in me, I guess accepting. Not, I would say my struggle has been more with the action of doing it. I've gotten really good with coming to terms with who I am and like what kind of music I like to make and like understanding my ability and my strengths. But I think it's the acting on it because music is such a like I would say such an unstable industry. Like it's so hard
Mm-hmm.
to say like whether you'll succeed just based off talent or merit. So I think that's been my thing where it's like I'm like I is it smart to invest everything into this? It's definitely what I want to do, and
Right.
I feel like every day I'm getting closer towards that. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a decision I've like been making. It's like
Right.
slowly, and like,
No,
I just yeah, I'm sure, but it's just about being like taking those steps at my pace, I guess.
no, for sure. And exactly, you said there at the end, like literally, like I feel like everyone is going to be on their own, like their own path, their own journey, their own divine timing.
Mhm.
And like the thing I'll add to that is like, do you think that played a part? Because for anyone who doesn't know, like before, I guess the latest run of music that you put out, you weren't big on like releasing music. Like us, like to my knowledge anyway, because I would always see you like perform at different venues and different shows. But like whenever I wanted to go hear the music, like it wasn't on like streaming platforms or anything like that. You know what I mean? So do you think that played a
Yeah.
part in that? Do you think that like yeah, like that ever, like doing things at your own pace, finding the right time and finding your own time within yourself? Do you think that played a part in like you releasing music or not?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm very firm in just waiting till I'm ready and doing things when it feels right for me. So it took a while, but I finally ended up starting. So yeah.
Our mutual friend SJ always says he was like, yo man, if just put out some more music, more music, more music. And I'm like, you know what, man, and exactly to your point. And like, me too. Like, I'm a firm believer in like timing and like how everyone's path. You know, there's gonna be a time when like now is the time to release this, or like, okay, let me wait a month before I release. You know, that type of thing. So like, yeah, no, I'm a firm believer in that too. So, I mean, it makes sense that you're able to understand that and be aware of that, and then follow through. So it's dope. All right, so let's see. We're gonna break down some songs here. I don't have all the song lyrics, but there's two song lyrics that I have here.
Okay.
I'm gonna read them, and then you tell me, or you try to answer if you know what song it's from.
Okay.
Okay. So this one here is lost my train of thought somewhere in your arms. Shelter my body from harm, but hurt me in the heart.
Do that.
Do that. She knew that right away. She knew that right away. What is that? What does that line mean to you? If you don't mind sharing.
Lost my train of thought somewhere in your arms. I guess like kind of means you have a logical, like rational, like stream of thought, and like you know what you should be doing, but then it kind of just
Yeah.
all dissipates when you're in that person's arms. Um, and then the second line is more about I feel like there's obviously like physical harm and physical abuse is super super severe, and
Mm.
nothing can take away from that. But I feel like anytime emotional harm is inflicted, people don't really take it seriously. So and like because it's like oh like you're not hurting me physically, so
So it's
it's
okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Protecting me physically, but yeah.
Me personally, I feel like the emotional abuse is worse than the physical abuse because that's like psychological. That's like messing with someone's brain. So like, yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. I'm with you on that. All right. So the next line here is show you a love so sublime. Enter the frame of mind. Ain't deserving, but boy, it's all right. Let you waste my time. Let you in one last time. What song is
Oh,
it?
it took me a second. It took so long. That was Tell Me Who.
Yeah, yeah, featuring Kid Field. And this line, what does this line mean to you?
Um,
I can read it again if you want.
yeah, no, sorry, I'm just marinating. It's been a while since
No,
I've
for
listened.
sure, for sure, no, for sure.
Um, yeah, just knowing someone isn't probably the best for you, and being okay with that. Just making that conscious decision to like, okay, we'll do this again, anyways.
Yeah, that reminds me of like a song that I've been listening to a lot. I don't know why, but that Young Blue song featuring Drake, "Your Mind Still."
Mm,
That
that's
song
a good one.
bangs, and like, but in the video, like at the end, spoiler alert, he gets the girl back, and they're at the wedding, and they drive away from the wedding, and
Mm-hmm.
like they're smiling, but then like the longer they keep driving, they realize, like the smiles fade, and they're just like, it was like for that moment, like in a sense, it's almost like you don't want them to be with someone else, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
when you're with them, then it's like a miserable relationship. So it's like, yeah.
Like the
So I
only
feel like
reason
it's a
you want them is because you don't want them to be with someone else.
exactly. No, that's true. I'll ask this one. So can't say goodbye. If you don't mind taking us through like the creative process for the video, because I know on Instagram you said you wanted to create visuals, and of course it was during COVID and quarantine. So I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
getting a whole like video crew and all that shit wasn't going to be like ideal. So yeah, if you don't mind taking us through your creative process behind the making of that video and song, if you don't mind as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as that song had been in the works for so long
Hmm.
that it's hard to remember where it really started. I just remember working on it with Tion. I had just written it to like YouTube beat, and I was just like excited
Yeah.
about it. I want to record it, and he was like, "Hey, let's get in the studio and record it." And so we started working on it, and then um, we ended up like transferring it over to East Boulevard Studios. I don't know if you know Gabe or Joe.
Mm,
Great producer. Shout out Gabe. And shout out to y'all.
there you go.
But basically, we took it from there, and I honestly writing it. I honestly don't remember the creative process. I wish I could tell you, but it was kind of just like kind of just happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's really much of a story behind that one. Um, the video, I was kind of like, it's funny that people have kind of mentioned like, oh, like you did something that like, like you could have done that video. Honestly, if quarantine hadn't happened and I put that song out, I don't think I would have put out a video for it.
Oh, okay.
I think because I think the thought of doing the whole process, like getting a video crew and like doing it, all of that sounded so like it felt so daunting to me, and I was like super like intimidating that I was like, I don't know if I can commit. Like I don't know if I can do all that myself, especially because it would have been my first time.
Right.
So this was, I feel like, a perfect way for me to do it, where it was kind of just like no pressure on my own time. Like I was like, I feel like making a visual to this. So I was like, okay, let me just like open photo booth and just start recording. And then yeah, I kind of just like over a course of like a few days, like I kind of just started doing that, and then
Mm,
yeah, then I had a friend, I had KB Cuts edit it, and it turned out really nice. So yeah,
all
it was
right.
kind of ideal.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it sounds like it, because like in this sense, and I also feel like for a lot of artists too, I feel like the whole quarantine sort of helped with the creative process more than
Mhm.
hindered, because like what else are you gonna do? Like you have all this time, like you might as well start thinking of different ways to do stuff.
I think it also played a huge part in me releasing music as well, like having all that time.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I feel like yeah, it's exactly to your point. Like it's like it was perfect for some artists that like needed that extra space and time. I feel like it was perfect for them because they were able to sort of like be with themselves and then curate from that space, rather than whether it be like always being out at a studio, always be surrounded by other people, etc. So like I feel like definitely the quarantine in this case definitely helped you. So it's dope.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get to the Restless EP, that was the three songs,
Mm.
2017 just I Tried and 8 a.m. Do you speak French, by the way, or do you just throw that? Did you just throw that in there? You actually speak
Yeah,
French?
so yeah, I went to French immersion from kindergarten all the way to grade 12. So I was fluent. It's pretty
Yeah,
rusty now. I like it
yeah.
was kind of like my way of like trying to incorporate into my life and like keep it going. But
Oh no, I'm with you. Don't. I mean, you could use like Duolingo, but like I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend Duolingo. My dad gave me a like a French kids book. He was like, just read the French kids book out loud, and you'll be fine. So
does it help? Or
sorry, no, yeah. I mean, it's helped because like I mean, when I go home, like I speak French when I go home like to visit my parents.
yeah,
But like even this, like when I'm doing the radio or like if I'm talking to most people don't speak French, so I'm having to do everything in English. So like
mm,
you're working your English muscle more than you're working your French muscle. So I mean, it's
exactly. Yeah, it's all the
yeah,
practicing. Hmm.
exactly. If the listener pays attention to, I guess, like the words in your music, there's like certain themes that keep reoccurring. One of them being like the idea of loving someone who isn't all in, uh, and then also like going back to like a semi-toxic relationship. So like, the question I have for
Mm.
you is like, why do you think we as humans are like intrigued by these kinds of relationships, or like what about these kinds of relationships sort of like draw us to them?
That's a great question. I think sometimes it's the potential, like knowing what it could be.
Hmm.
Sometimes, or usually because it has been that way, and like those highs kind of get you through the lows and kind of like keep you pushing because you're like, okay, like you're just waiting for that next fix of like that euphoria that you get. Um, and also like it's familiar. Like a lot of times we fall into patterns that don't like that aren't good for us and they'll serve us, but they feel right because we're so used to it. Um, and yeah, and then also like there's like this level of manipulation that comes with any kind of toxic relationship like that, where you kind of believe like that this is it for you. Like, this is as good as it gets, right? So yeah, I feel like it's a lot of things. It really depends, but
There's a good line. Um, by Jacob Banks. Do you know Jacob Banks?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a song, "The Devil That I Know," and like the line is, "The devil that I know is better than the devil that I don't." And like I think that like sums it up perfectly. That
Hmm.
sums up exactly that so perfectly. And like yeah, once I heard that line, like it made so much sense to me, like on a soul level. Because for one, like I've never heard it in that way. Like that was the first time I heard it in that way. Like other people talk about it, but it's whether but sometimes it'll be like in a metaphor or something. But like he just came out and said it. So like, and
Hmm.
I was like, that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, that's the
So
best writing where it's like you took the words out of my mouth.
yeah, yo, straight up,
Hmm.
straight up. Like yeah, people who can do that to me are like my favorite artists. Like
Yeah.
yeah, that's that's a talent. That's like a serious talent to be able to just like yeah say what like I've like always wanted to say, but like never had like the words or whatever. And like yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's dope. That's dope. Okay, so the EP that you released, the Restless EP, did Mr. Steve make all the production of it?
You did, yeah.
He did. Okay, so yeah, so the question I wanted to ask was like, what do you think it is about Mr. Steve, or like his production that like fits so well with your voice and like aesthetic? If you had to, if you had an idea.
Oh. Um, I feel like he has a great ear for really obscure sounds,
Mm,
which is really cool. I find like I don't know, like especially with those songs and just in general, like he'll come up with sounds. I'm like, I've never heard that before, which is
mm,
really cool to me. I'm like, so I tried, like I noticed it myself, and like it's like I don't know how to write to this, and like a lot of people told me like, wow, like this is different. I don't know, I've never heard anything like this before. So I feel like that's huge. Like it's definitely like challenged me as an artist too, which is really nice. Like trying to like just kind of make it work and like figure out how to approach it. Um, yeah, I think he's super talented and he's really great at that, especially.
yeah, no, it's dope. So, and it's also dope to be able to have like people like that in your corner who are able to like push you, but like push you in a way that like isn't like demeaning or like hurting in a way, but they're able to just like create something and then like give you that challenge of stepping out of your comfort zone to create something that you probably wouldn't like on your own, right? So
Yeah.
so now we're gonna get into um, like sort of the BLM questions. So you were able to work with okay, before I actually ask you those questions,
Hmm.
you have the pleasure of on like various accounts working with people like Makati and Tion.
Hmm.
What is it about their creative process and the way that they create? Again, going back to the Mr. C thing, like like what is it about them and like the creative process that you feel comfortable enough to just like be yourself?
I think it all comes down to they just love music, which is super, super inspiring and super like
Mm,
it's just great energy to be around. So it's kind of we always come together making music with the same intention, just to make good music and just like make music that feels right.
mm.
So it's always a good time based on that, especially. And then having similar taste and like things like that definitely helps as well. But they're super talented, super easy to work with.
Oh, easy enough. All right, so I'm gonna read what Makati posted as sort of like his little description of what the Black EP is. So he
Hmm.
writes, Black EP is a visceral and vicarious audio-visual narrative that navigates the complex emotions Black people must reconcile with amidst systemic anti-Black racism, police brutality, and injustice. With the proliferation of the Black Lives Matter movement globally, the Black EP journeys from poetically processing pain and suffering to reimagining hope to a call finally to a call to action rooted in assertiveness, painted with the broad brushstrokes of Blacktivism and radical Black joy. So I say that, and the question I wanted to ask, because in all honesty, we could sit here and talk about the influence of Black women in society, and also how there are very obvious obstacles that have been put in place to hinder the greatness that Black women possesses. Right. And I also believe that
Hmm.
in owning a narrative to be able to change it. So I say that to ask you these two questions.
Mhm.
What actions would you recommend allies of Black women to do to show support?
I feel like it's said a lot, but I don't think it's because it's a cliche. It's just because it's just very true and it's really underrated. But listening, it's literally just listening, like, and not listening in the sense of asking a question and then taking from the answer what you want to hear, like critically listening and actually going, okay, like, so I don't know. I feel like people don't really wait for the answer. People don't really digest the answer. People don't really like apply the answer. So, yeah, just listening like critically and seriously taking things in. I feel like it seems so simple, but it's really the first step because people kind of help in the way they think we would want it, or and like this is I guess this applies to any kind of marginalized group. Like
Right.
people help in the way they think you should be helped instead of how you actually the kind of help you really need. So taking that time to actually like ask someone what their needs are and really like I don't know, really understand it or try to
Hmm.
and apply it to how you live instead of just kind of like passively hearing it and then going about your life and then thinking that you've done your part because you asked. I feel like a lot of people do that.
It's a good answer. I like that answer. I like that answer. All right. The next question I ask that piggybacks off that, and like I said, like I believe in owning a narrative to be able to change the narrative. So
Mm.
the narrative painted for Black women, I would say, is probably one of like the worst painted narratives by like outside society. So, and I say that because my sister is doing like a research essay, um, and like I was helping her find like articles and different things of that nature. And it's crazy to, and these are all written by Black women. They all went and did their own research too, so it was super dope to read. But like
Mhm.
the way that, and there's just like little things too. So like even the way that they're treated at like medical facilities, the way that um, whether it be like in jobs, whether it be putting on like the super tough like face, like while they're still dealing with like mental health, etc. Things like that. It's there's a lot that people, the strong Black woman type character. So it's like the reason I ask that is because there's
Mhm.
clearly that not every Black woman falls under this category that they've depicted for us to believe in. So it's like, what actions would you recommend a Black woman to reclaim
Mhm.
their own narrative?
Sounds so cliche, but be yourself.
Yo,
Like, because
cli- cliches
there's,
always true.
sorry?
I say cliches are always true, so it's okay.
No, because there's no one way to be a Black woman. And
Hmm.
we're taught that we have to be a certain way, or we can't do this, or we can't do that. So, yeah, literally just like whatever you want to do, is, um, whatever makes sense for you is what you should be doing. Not what you think, not what others expect of you, or not what people tell you you should be, or what you think people expect of you, or whatever the case may be. Like what you see in the media, like to the best of your ability, like be as authentically yourself as you can. And in that way, like I think you're not only are you owning the narrative, you're kind of um, you're debunking it, and you're I guess I don't know how to say it. You're proving it wrong, I guess. Like that there's no paradigm, there's no one way to be a Black woman, and there's no limits.
I'm gonna insert the meme of the Black guy doing that right there.
Mhm.
No, so
Mhm.
and yeah, thank you for entertaining those questions because I just wanted to. I mean, like if I have the opportunity, you know, I need to ask the questions,
Mhm.
whether it be for myself, but also for the listener too. Like so,
Yeah, thank you for asking those questions.
yeah, no, for sure. All right, now before we get into the free thought questions, so the first question I'll ask is, what movie can you watch over and over without getting tired of?
Down to Earth is one of them.
Down to Earth.
Mhm.
What's that about?
Chris Rock is this comedian that
Yeah.
like isn't very good but he has a lot of heart. and like he'll be big one day, like he has the potential, and he just dies like suddenly, and then he goes to heaven, and heaven is a party, and the not the bouncer, but like the I guess the host of the party, like one of the angels, is kind of like, oh, like you have unfinished business, we can put you in another body, and then he goes back down into the body of like this old rich white guy,
Yeah.
and he has to like try and make as a black comedian in this old rich white guy's body.
How come I've never heard of that? How come I've never heard of this movie? I'm trying to look it up. Hold on.
I don't know, but it's
When did it come out?
early 2000s, I think. But I don't know, it's just like really lighthearted. Like I could watch over and over.
Oh, okay, here it is. Here it is. 2001. Yeah. Dope. I mean, I'm glad you like it. It's people on the internet don't, but it got
Yeah, well, I don't know. I like movies that aren't too serious. I like things that are kind of
no.
like silly, I guess. Like,
Well,
I
no,
guess,
it's
yeah.
good. No, I'm
Well,
just
just
I'll watch it. I mean, no, it's like sometimes like I'll go out and watch bad movies. Not saying this is a bad movie, but the internet sure thinks so.
wow. I've never read the reviews. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, no, and see, and that's probably why you had that connection to the movie because
Yeah, and I
you
watched
didn't go
it
read.
yeah. I watched it when I was young, and then like I've just watched it ever since, kind of thing.
Oh, there's that too. Maybe like the sense of nostalgia, but I'll watch it. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
check it out. Down there. All right. I mean, the way you described it was definitely made me want to watch it, so I'll do that.
Right?
Yeah,
Not a bad concept.
it's not, yeah. I mean, it's a good concept. Definitely worth a watch. It's definitely worth a watch. It's definitely worth a watch.
At least one time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'll watch it once.
and Dreamgirls. There's a special place in my heart from Dreamgirls.
For Dreamgirls.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
remember watching that with my sisters. That's a classic.
yeah, that was another movie. Like I remember we got the DVD like as soon as it came out. And I just remember like, and I didn't know what it was, and I was like watching, it, like,
Yeah.
what is this? And then yeah, I've just been watching it ever since. Those are the only movies I repeat. There's definitely movies that I've seen that I like would watch again and like would
Yeah.
want to keep watching, but those are the only ones that like really stuck with me. Oh, and The Princess Bride. That's another movie I grew up on that like I can watch over and over.
The Princess Bride. That's with Anne Hathaway.
No,
No,
that,
no, that's Princess Diaries.
yeah, no, The Princess Bride is who's in it? I'm gonna have to Google it 'cause I actually don't remember the
Yeah,
name.
go ahead, go ahead.
But
Princess Bride.
yeah, it's here. I'll you know what? I'll look up the synopsis for you because I actually don't know how to explain it.
Okay, bet.
Um, a fairy tale adventure about a young woman and her one true love. He must find her after a long separation and save her. They must battle the evils of the mythical kingdom of Florin to be reunited with each other. um, it's cooler than it sounds.
Sounds like some Lord of the Rings shit.
It kind of is. Low key, yeah, it pretty much
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But yeah, I've been watching that since I was little.
Okay, Princess Bride. You gotta write this down. Put it in your notes here. Not bad. Yo, and that's crazy too. Like, just the fact that you said like, oh yeah, well we got the DVD. Motherfuckers don't be getting DVDs anymore.
No, it's been a minute.
Okay, the next set of questions is like this or that. So either pick the former or the latter.
Okay,
All right, coffee or tea?
T,
Easy. All right, introvert or extrovert?
introvert.
Now this is for like your preference, facial hair or clean shaven?
Depends. Like literally, if they can rock it, they can rock it. I'm fine with that.
Done. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles, waffles.
Waffles.
Yeah.
Yeah. See the reason why I would pick waffles too is like, I mean, it's cool that you can like pour the syrup over the pancakes, but like waffles have those little holes. It's like meant for syrup.
Yes.
They're literally they're literally meant for you to put syrup in. Like that's why they're there.
It's true.
Yeah, you gotta go waffles. All right, if you had to pick one, skydive or bungee jump.
God, sorry, I'm super afraid of heights, but they're both things that I've wanted to do. Like I don't know if I'll ever have the balls to do it, but
Yeah.
um, shit, skydiving. Just because bungee jumping, you know that Fresh Prince episode?
Look, there he goes.
Hillary Banks,
Yes, Trevor!
will you marry me?
After that, I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay, but you know it's a dummy that they're throwing over.
I know, but at least like at the parachute, you know, that's the only fear with that is one, like, what if the parachute malfunctions?
Yeah.
Two, what if I'm just like so shook by like what's happening and I'm falling?
And
like,
you forget to pull the parachute.
Yeah, but if those two are like, if I'm not worried about those two, that like, yeah, skydiving.
See, but skydiving, you can go with like that guy on your back or whatever, like or like someone, like an instructor.
Then you have to trust the instructor with your life.
But they've been doing it for like 10 years.
That's true. That's
I
don't know. Risk. Either way, there's risk. So
No, there is.
that's why it's skydiving.
See, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, because even for bungee jumping, like once you go down and then you're coming back up, like what if you like smack into like a rock or some shit?
Exactly.
So, like,
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. I'm good.
all right, skydive, yeah. See, because I wanted to go bungee jumping for my 25th birthday, but that never happened. So like,
How come? Because COVID or
it's COVID, yeah. And I was like, well,
would you
sorry.
still do?
Would I still do it? I mean, like I was pretty amped up for my 20, I was like 25 bungee jump, but now I'm like, I don't know.
30.
No. Yeah. I mean, I want to like. I mean, yeah, like I'm tired of being scared of shit. So I'm like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna jump off this cliff. Like, fuck it. All right, the last one is bright colors or neutral tones.
Both.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say honestly because when I put this question down, I was like, I mean, I'm asking a black person this question. I mean, like
Every
honestly,
color works.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was just like everything works. So like, okay, yeah, that's a cop-out question. So the last section of this interview, we're gonna call it free thought.
Okay.
But so pretty much like on every episode of Philosophical Fridays, we said there's no right or wrong answers.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna ask a question and then it'll be open, open for discussion.
Yeah.
Just want to get your thoughts on the world. That's about it. Okay, so the first question is: are humans better at creation or destruction?
Destruction.
Yeah.
Sucks, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say that too. The reason and like my reasoning behind that is because once everything was created, there are no sort of quote unquote new ideas. We're all just remaking something that's already been made, or in a sense, making it better. But there is no like real new idea.
Yeah,
So
there's no purely original thought. It's so much easier to destroy things, and despite the fact that so many things that are created take so much time and effort and like blood, sweat, and tears, and we can just destroy it just like that is like, yeah, no.
this is see, and that answer is perfect because like this is how I feel like uh like our next generation and even the way that we're moving with like technology and music. I feel like this is what's happening to music nowadays. Is that like say someone takes like a year to create an album and then they put it out and then motherfuckers just shit on their album. Like it's like And it's
Yeah.
like, yo, this person took like, you know, a long time to create this body of work. Or whether it's like people, but I guess this is also a sense of like destroying too. If you just listen to it in a week and then expect them to have the next album ready to go. Like, you know, like sort of like that microwave type of listening where you're just
Mhm.
listening because they put it out and then you just like, yo, okay, what's next? Yo. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because the world we live in right now, like everything is so easily accessible. You can get anything in a half a second. It's at your
Right,
fingertips,
right.
right? So it's like we don't have that same patience or appreciation that we used to. Whereas like before, like you had to wait a week if you wanted to watch that next episode, or like you
Facts.
had to wait this many years if you wanted the next album, or you had to do this or that. Like we don't have that kind of patience anymore, I feel like, or that kind of attention span. So we're just expecting things to be created like as quickly as we consume them almost. And art is one of those things that will never change. Like it takes the amount of time it takes, regardless of how quickly technology is moving.
So next question is it better to have a broad knowledge base or a deep knowledge base?
That's a good question. I've been grappling with that idea for a while now because it's
Mhm.
like to be like like that saying like jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Um, so you can only go as far in anything as you know. Like you can't go much deeper than as much as you know. So if you know a little bit of everything, you're not really going to go very far in anything. So it's useful. It's so like super useful to have a little bit of knowledge. Like just general knowledge is really useful and important, for sure. But I would say to be a master of at least one thing is ideal.
Yeah. The broad knowledge base, I would say that it's good for like conversation. Like you can be a good like people person if you have a broad knowledge base because you can like touch on and
So yeah.
cover a lot of topics. But yeah, having a deep knowledge base. See, I don't know. Like the reason that I also like this question so much is like if you have a deep knowledge base about something, you dedicate so much time to learning about this one thing that
Yeah.
now you don't have as much like knowledge of other things.
Yeah.
So like, cause and like for me, like it's a perfect example because I'm just about to finish rewatching Mr. Robot. So like
Mm.
Elliot in Mr. Robot, like he has a deep knowledge base when it comes to like computers and hacking. But that
Mhm.
makes his social life suck. Like he has no social life whatsoever
Yeah. Because
because he's like so like yeah, I don't know.
yeah, both are useful. So it's like it's hard
Yeah,
to say. Like yeah, I don't know. That's the struggle there. Is 'cause it's like what do you focus on?
it's true. I feel like maybe I don't know, like learning. See, but like I don't know, because I'm thinking of like what if you just like picked a day and you like say like today's like biology, you just learn about biology today, and
Yeah.
tomorrow it's arts, and you just read about the arts. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but then to have a deeper understanding or to like become an expert in anything, you have to have that repetition, right?
Sure.
So it's like,
Repetition is the father of learning, Little Wayne. So this one sort of falls in line with that question as well. Is intelligence or wisdom more useful?
and by intelligence, you mean like practical knowledge? It's like,
I can give you the Google definition. With any word in the English language, sometimes we sort of create our own definitions of what they are,
yeah,
and we kind of forget like the actual definitions just because I don't know we're
mhm.
humans and we do that. So
Yeah.
let's
There's
see.
different ways you can be intelligent.
Yeah,
Such a broad term. I would say wisdom, though.
the definition of intelligence is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills.
Yeah,
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 and then
wisdom.
wisdom speaks more to like what experience.
Yeah,
So
wisdom for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, no, I'm with you on that too.
Yeah, because if you don't have an understanding of yourself, of the world, of life, it's all of it's useless. Because yeah, I don't know. I just think wisdom is a lot more valuable.
No, it definitely is because like I mean exactly to your point, like having the experience of having gone through something to me is so much more valuable than
Completely different thing to have experienced it and know how it relates to you. Like feeling it and like learning it and knowing it are completely different.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. There's a good saying that like understanding and knowing are two different things, and I feel like that's
Yeah, absolutely. And it's another talent in itself to like to actively learn from something that you've experienced.
exactly yeah. No, okay,
You have to experience, you have to apply it. Yeah.
yes, because if not, then you get stuck in the cycles of
Yeah.
always going through the same bullshit because you don't learn from it. So yeah,
Yeah. So like being able to make the distinction between, okay, this wasn't just an unfortunate experience, this was a lesson. And like how can I apply this and how is this, yeah. And like
yeah,
what can you learn from it? So yeah, I think it's a lot more valuable and you kind of learn how to maneuver through life a lot better the more you learn.
I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't have a grasp on, and I feel like if more people had a grasp on that idea
Mhm.
of like continually learning from their past experiences, I feel like a lot of us wouldn't be in the situations that we are today because
Yeah.
like you just so yeah,
Yeah. It takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to do that.
that's true. One day I hope that everyone's able to have that self-awareness. That's my hope for the world. Yeah, fingers crossed. Okay, this next question goes like this. It is what activities cause you to feel like you're living life to the fullest?
Um, Creating anything. Um, like genuine laughter.
Yeah,
I feel like anytime I'm around people that like really make me laugh, you know, like that silent laugh, like we're not even really making noise anymore.
I
Like
know.
that's like
I
that's
know.
like peak happiness for me. That's definitely up there. I've noticed like any kind of like reflection, like meditation, things like that. Just like taking care of myself. That takes like makes a huge difference. Hiking. That's a big
Hiking.
feeling as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like making it to the top and like that feeling is a nice feeling.
And I feel like any good form of like physical activity is dope.
Mhm.
But like hiking is dope because you're just walking for the most part. But it's still like it has like that like steady physical activity, which is dope.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I feel like any form of physical activity is dope because it's so rewarding.
I feel like when you're doing it for the right reasons, it feels a lot better. Like if I'm doing it because like, oh, I want to take in nature, and then like I'm simultaneously like doing physical activity that's releasing those endorphins, and I'm also just like taking the beautiful view and like, yeah, I don't know. I love that combination of like nature and physical activity for sure.
What happens when you're born in BC?
Yeah,
That's,
honestly,
that's
I should have taken advantage of it way sooner. Sunshine,
100%.
being in any kind of sunshine.
Speaking of sunshine and the power of melanin, did you get powers on December 21st?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't get your powers.
Not. Did you?
Yeah. What do you mean? Of course.
So you gonna tell me what it was?
Oh yeah, it was a discernment. I was able to discern and pick the right path I wanted to go with my
Really? That's amazing. Wow.
life.
Listen, it's a lot easier. It's a lot harder than it sounds. Easier said than done, for sure. Proud of you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. No, but like in all honesty, like the funny thing is like yeah, like that was the day where I like flexed the muscle of discernment where I had to make a choice, and that was like so so I'm gonna take that as my power, the power of discernment. But by the end of the year, I'm gonna pray that you get your powers. Maybe it's just late. It's late.
Yeah, I
It's
want
late.
my revelation.
Babies are considered innocent. When do people cease to be innocent? So that's when. So I had to make it good.
Huh. I think it's an ongoing process. Like it kind of little by little it's just chipped away, and then suddenly you realize you don't have any of it left. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That sounds so morbid.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I would like to say that, or I'd like to think that I still have some of my innocence and like optimism, and and I feel like a lot of people do. Just need to like, you know, just dig a little deeper and find it. But this world is just like, it can be really depressing. Like it's really hard to keep it. So Yeah, I don't know if there's like any one moment that just like where you're not innocent anymore. I don't know about that, but what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like the way I look at it is like you forget it. I wouldn't say you lose it. I say that you forget.
Mm, mm.
And like, yeah, then exactly to your point, like it's just like a constant like reminding,
Yeah.
reminding yourself of it. And yeah, like that's what I would say. Is like you gotta constantly remind yourself. I mean, I keep like so it's I'm gonna expose myself right now. So like even this, like this is a rubber ducky, okay?
Oh.
you
No, I love
got
that. I love that.
what's up?
I love it.
See, like you keep things like this to remind yourself that like I was once the kid who played with rubber duckies in the bathtub,
That's really crazy to think about.
right?
You can look at it like that. Yeah, okay.
And like you know what I mean? So like
Mhm.
just things like that
Yeah.
is like a constant reminder of like as much as I continue to grow and like become an adult and whatever, like and to me like the biggest reminder is that like when like aunts and uncles see me and they still see me as the little kid. So like that's how I know that like I'm forever gonna like I'm still the little kid that like rubber duckies who like fell off his bike going down the hill. Like I'm still that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like just the constant exactly to your point, the constant like remembering of yeah, like you still have this innocence regardless of fucking how crazy the world is like at all times, right? So
Yeah, you have to dig deeper for sure.
sorry, go ahead.
You just have to dig deeper and find it
Yeah,
again.
no,
Yeah.
that's right
Yeah.
there. It's a nail on the head.
I think I've noticed like with like that like wide-eyed wonder, just being excited about everything, like everything's new and cool and special. I feel like I notice that look in a lot of people's faces when they are doing something they're passionate about, or when they're talking about something they're passionate about, or when they're learning something new that they care, like like when they're kind of like progressing in whatever it is that they care about. Like it's just they have a look in their eyes, which is really cool. Like it reminds me, and I guess reminds themselves. Like you're right. Like it never really goes away.